Chertoff is the man who oversees the Department of Homeland Security. Prior to that, he oversaw the criminal division of the Department of Justice from July of 2001.
Yeah.
He's the person who oversaw what I call the non-investigation of 9/11.
Yeah.
He's the person, as the U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey, he's the person who had control of the evidence and prosecution of the first bombing at the World Trade Center. Michael Chertoff's father is a man named Baruch, or Gershon Baruch Chertoff. He's a rabbi. And then he's got an uncle Mordechai, who's also a rabbi. And his grandfather was a very well-known teacher of the Talmud in this Jewish theosophical sort of whatever their society in New York City, which became the Jewish Institute. And so his father was, but the sister was the head of Hadassah, the Jewish Hadassah, and she was a big fundraiser for the state of Israel in the 30s, bringing back millions of dollars to Palestine. She went to school at Hebrew University before Israel was a state. Their family was one of the founding families of the state of Israel. Yeah, and that has to be understood. That at the same time that like Benjamin Netanyahu's father is working with the New Zionist movement in New York, Michael Chertoff's aunt is working with the Zionist movement in New York and Chicago and London.
Well, let's move one family. Homeland Security is not the only thing that this man has access to. He also, because of his ties to the Justice Department, has direct access to FBI activity as well, doesn't he? Does he not?
Oh yeah. Well, this is the thing. When you talk about the Department of Justice, you have to remember that for a long time, the people that run the Department of Justice in the United States have been very, very warm Jews. In the time of, I think it was the first Bush, it was a man named Abraham Sofayer. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but he was a friend of Israel. Then when we had John Ashcroft, we had the real brains of the outfit was Michael Chertoff. Ashcroft was just the non-Jew who was supposed to be the warm and fuzzy guy that everybody sees. But like for example, Michael Chertoff is the one who wrote the Patriot Act, along with a Vietnamese-born colleague at the Department of Justice. I mean, these two people are the ones that put together this notorious, infamous 15,000-page legislation, however long it is, that's taken away a lot of our liberties in this country.
Well, doesn't much of it come right out of the playbook from Russia?
Yes.
I mean, they used actual laws and sedition laws and whatnot from the Russian model, did they not?
Well, look at how they've the police departments in this country, going back to my arrest, we wonder who's behind the arrest. But all of the police departments today in the United States communicate with the Department of Homeland Security. In every police department in the United States, there is an official, usually the chief or a high-ranking lieutenant, who corresponds, who is the liaison with the Department of Homeland Security. So I identify Chertoff as a Russian Jew. And if you realize, in the Soviet Union, it was a capital offense to identify a Jew as a Jew. You could not call Vladimir Lenin a Jew. You could not call somebody a Jew if they were not a Jew. That was one of the most serious offenses. I think it was Lenin who passed that law, or that ruling, that if you were to identify a person as a Jew, you would be killed. And that's kind of the thinking here too, because that's what he says. He says but if you listen to the tone of the ads on the radio and TV in this country at this political time of year, they can trash anybody, but Chertoff is protected.
Yeah.
See? You can trash Bush and Cheney and Rumsfeld and this governor or this congressman. You can call them perverts or child abusers, whatever you want. The kind of things they call me. but Chertoff is beyond reach. You see, that's what I'm saying. It's the same thing. This is the man who controls the borders of the United States. He controls the Coast Guard. He controls the Immigration Naturalization Service, which is now called Citizen Service and Immigration or something like that. He controls the Palace Guard. He controls the Secret Service. Now, that's important. That used to be under the Department of the Treasury. He controls the people who protect the president, the vice president, and people like John F. Kennedy, Jr., and all those various sons and daughters of presidents are protected by Secret Service. He controls that agency. So he controls the security of the nation. He controls TSA, Transportation whatever it's called, TSA, Transportation Services Agency, whatever.
Well, the TSA, right? Yeah, that's right.
At the airport.
Yeah.
He controls, and so he controls the borders, if you will. He controls this new apparatus like we were talking about. Who gets to get out of the country? Who gets to get in the country? I mean, you know, this guy is in the highest seat. He controls who protects and how to protect the President of the United States. So like I said in one of my latest postings, I said, well, you know, it's a picture of Bush and Chertoff, and I said, well, Bush better be smiling. He better smile. You know,
yeah.
cross your eyes at Chertoff, and he might be dead tomorrow.